Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co-author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, Keisha Brooks. Keisha is the host of Real Life, Real Equity podcast. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Keisha Brooks. Keisha,
Th-
welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Mohammed. It's nice to be here.
Likewise, thank you so much. Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to start your podcast, Real Life, Real Equity?
Wow. So, Real Life Real Equity was established in August of 2018. And so at that point, my husband and I, we kept getting the question, what do you guys do? What is it exactly that you all do? At the same time, we just noticed that on social media, there was so many other entrepreneurs that were, sharing stories, but they weren't giving you the backdrop. They weren't telling the transparency of it. So we decided, you know what, people need to know the ins and outs of really what it takes. What is that grind about? How do you grow as an entrepreneur? And so that's how Real Life Real Equity got started. At the same time, we were pregnant with our fourth girl. And so I ended up being the one that was really wanting to push it because our brand was growing. At this point, he was already a number one best-selling author. During this time, I became a number one best-selling author. So resilience, turning your setback into a turnback. Is his book, and then Desire, Discipline, and Determination is my book. So this was something that we knew we could share with our audience, sharing our stories, adding value, but then also having amazing guests on our podcast as well to share their stories, share their transparency.
Wonderful. Go, girl. Kesha, congrats on becoming a number one best-selling author and also extend the same feeling to your husband. Okay. So
Exactly. Yes. Thank you so much.
I'm so proud of you. You both are like really the role model for our community to actually how to lead from a front. You're not only you're creating a success for yourself, however, you're also sharing it through your podcast, real stories, not only your own, bringing the real guests, you're giving the real life, how the life look like. Sometimes it's not really the straight path. Many times it's like circling around the train once in a while.
Exactly. Exactly. I totally agree with that. It's always about rolling through the punches, as we were talking about. It's not always about us. We have to realize that, we're all part of this world. The pandemic has shown us that, how connected we are. I mean, we are more connected more ways than one than we know. I mean, I have friends who live across the globe in Barcelona, in Spain and Japan. And so it takes nothing to connect with people, but it's so important to make sure that you're leaving something with them every time you have a conversation and learn from each other. That's the only way we're going to grow.
Okay, are you ready to give us some real experience? I'm going to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's go. What are the top three mistakes to avoid for an entrepreneur to before they get burnt down? So
It's funny you say that. I was actually, so today, I am what you consider presently an entrepreneur. So I am helping alongside with my agency owner to grow her business. One reason that she brought me on board to her company was to bring my business experience and to share that with our team. And actually, this afternoon we're gonna touch on that. She's gonna talk about entrepreneurship, and exactly what that means. If you don't know what that term means, sometimes in life as entrepreneurs, we do go through the circles. We get burnt out, where we go through the failures. And I'm definitely going to share three things that I have gone through myself, that many other people can use that will help you grow as an entrepreneur. But sometimes it's okay to get with someone who already has an established business, understand the processes, understand the systems, and understand what it takes to just go through that. Take it as it is. It's not going to happen overnight. And that's the thing that, the reason why we have Real Life Real Equity, because you have to understand that success does not happen overnight. You have to make sure that you can actually take time to understand the system. So before you take the blueprint, understand why you're using this. Can you incorporate this into your business itself? So that's something that I have brought to the table to the business with my agency owner is my experience in business. So as an entrepreneur, I'm adding value. I'm adding the systems and processes that I already know to help her grow. So as an entrepreneur, it's her business. She owns the business, and I am an add value or an asset to her business. So that's what makes me an entrepreneur is adding already or adding to something that's already established. So you're helping another business owner, you're helping another entrepreneur. That's what makes you an entrepreneur. Now, three things that I would like to highlight that I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through, and I've already mentioned it, is systems. So, systems is one of those things that some people overlook. Maybe they read a book and they're like, okay, I know about finance because I read this book, and then they just run out there and they buy the next best stock market. AMC is a great example of that, right? But they don't do the research. They don't understand how, up and down that stock is. They don't understand, like, okay, when to buy, how much to buy. And so it's very important to understand that. In my personal experience, when I got started with my short term rental business, there were some shortcuts that I took because the path was already laid before me. My mentor, Jay Massey, who's out of California, was the person that I went through his class, went through the courses. I mean, I did it all. And then I was like, okay, I can do this. And my excuse was, because we make excuses, was I was a leasing consultant before I became a leasing manager. So I understood apartments, I understood turnover. And really, that was just a bit of a little piece of the puzzle, really. And so what I did was, well, I don't need to, figure out what the pricing needs to be exactly. I don't need to use this tool. I don't need to use a certain furniture company, or I don't need to, whatever it may be. In my case, in the beginning, it was the pricing tool. I didn't use the pricing tool right away because I'm like, well, I've already spent this much money. I don't want to invest anymore, and I haven't even seen my return yet. Well, the first month I went through and I actually broke even, and I kept hearing in the group, yeah, I love this pricing tool. It's great. It tells me how to market. It tells me what's going on right now. So then I took a leap of faith and I said, okay, let me use the pricing tool because, again, he already laid the system out before us. He told us exactly what to use. He told us which pricing tool to use, and all I need to do was use it. He gave me the blueprint. Literally the next month, that next quarter, my cash flow shot up probably 50% than what it was the previous time frame. So I couldn't believe that. I was just like, wow, I should have used this pricing tool sooner and I would already be profiting. But instead, because as entrepreneurs, we're hard headed, I lost money in the first month, but then I gained money continually up until now, even through COVID. A lot of people that were using certain platforms like Airbnb and VRBO, everyone saw it. There was cancellations and everything that was going on. But our mentor instantly said, okay, this is what we need to do. We need to cut corners. What can you not supply? Do you need to do this? How do you pull back so that you can kind of lower your prices and still keep occupancy? And we did just that because he already had the system in place. He already knew what to do. So as an entrepreneur, number one, the systems. Understanding the systems, get with someone who already has the experience so that you can be successful. Two other things that I noticed that we had failed at, and that is having the right team. Team is so important, understanding people, making sure they understand you. The thing about it is that you constantly see turnover with entrepreneurs when they're picking their team members. And part of that is because they're not fully explaining like what their mission is, what their vision is. So you can't just make someone understand if you're not breaking it down like kindergarten. So I've seen this consistently happen with entrepreneurs where they're like, I can't keep an accountant, or I can't keep this person, or I can't even keep my number two. well, what are you doing to make sure they understand the goal? What is the end goal? Understanding what that is. So having key team players is important, and so for us, we've switched out different people, but it's okay. But we figured out how to make sure that we're explaining what our mission and vision is. And so that's very important. And then I would say a third thing that we have failed at is probably just being patient through the process. So it kind of all links together. Like you have your system, you want to understand the system. You're so excited. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm getting ready to do this. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make my first, whatever it may be, 10,000, 100,000, $1 million, $10 million, right? But we don't take the time to actually examine what's in front of us, what's been provided. There's so many tools and resources out there. YouTube, they call that YouTube University. Just being here on this podcast, growth hacking secrets. There's tools here that I'm sure many people have offered. And a lot of us, we think we hear one thing and then we run off thinking we know it all. And that's not how it works. Like you actually have to be patient enough to go through the process and then start looking at your trends. That's how you're going to grow. Look at what happened in first quarter, what happened in second quarter, what happened in third quarter, and then tweak as you go. That's how you're going to grow, being patient through the process. So to recap those three things, the first one is simply, oh man, I lost
System,
it.
system. Yeah, I'm listening.
Systems, yes,
Yeah.
systems. Thank you. The first one is systems. The second one is having the right team. And then that last one is just being patient through the process.
Yeah. So if I ask the question again, what are the top three mistakes to avoid? I would say not having the proper system.
Yes,
Not
exactly.
having-
Yeah.
not
So not having the proper system would
Yeah.
be the first
Second,
mistake. Yeah.
yeah. So your team is not on your synced with your vision and mission, basically. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like a heart-to-heart communication. They all have to be on board. You
Right. Exactly.
your head, but they don't know what you're thinking. So
That part, I've seen that happen so many times where people are like, yeah, but I have it, I have it, I have it. I'm like, but you have not explained it. They're not understanding. That's why you're not getting to the next step.
because they are going to help you to grow, basically, until they
Right.
get it. You already got it when you had it at first place. So okay, wonderful. So Kisha,
Yes.
you said you failed many time and you got success few time too. That's what I got the indication from that. So what is your greatest failure you like to share with us? What did you learn from it and how did you recover from that?
Oh, greatest failure. Wow. Okay. So I don't want to say I don't have many, but one that would stand out is probably going to be when it comes to my short term rental business.
Mhm.
Sometimes you want to try things on your own. You want to figure out, okay, yeah, he gave me this information, but I think I want to try it this way because I've seen somebody do it this way, not knowing if this other person was established at it or good at it or how much money they did or didn't make. So I would say my greatest failure is probably not fully 100% following the system to a certain extent. So I would try and like tweak little things because I'm thinking, okay, I can save here, but I'll make it up here. And so in the long term, you have to think of it as a long term game. Like you're not going to win in the first quarter. You don't have enough information. You have to go through the whole first year. There's 4 quarters in a year, and each time changes. So when I started my short term rental business, it was spring. That first year in gross revenue, I made five figures, and I was like, oh, okay, that's good. But my mentor said this is a 6 figure earning business. So I had to really take a step back and humble myself, make the changes. And 2020, even during COVID, it was a 6 figure earning year for me. And I'm very happy about that because I made the changes, I made the tweaks. I invested a little bit more here. I made sure I had a certain process in place, and then I made sure my team was on board as well. And when you think about short-term rentals, they're like, well, who's your team? Like you have yourself, you have a cleaner,
Yeah.
you're the operator. Well, who's your team? Well, those people are important. They can't just clean any old kind of way. There's a standard. Make sure you're moving things around. We're presenting a luxury brand, so make sure that you're actually doing that. And
Mm.
so I literally went through that process, made the changes, and it was successful. And everybody, got rewarded for it, not just me seeing the cash flow, but I was able to do something extra for my team, give them a bonus, even do extra things for the guests, give them, maybe a gift card if they're celebrating, whatever the case may be. So that was the success.
Thank you so much. I appreciate sharing with us how the growth hacking secrets community people are watching this now can support you.
So presently, because we have gone through transition and shifting and all of that, so everyone has their 2021. Some people do resolutions. I noticed this year a lot of people are like, I'm not doing a resolution because I don't know how 2021 is going to go based off of 2020. So for me, as far as setting goals, normally I do it like for the year. But this time I did it per quarter. And my year is just restoration. So, right now, the way people can support me, the biggest thing I would say is follow me on Instagram because that's where I'm going to have my latest.
Oh,
So, my Instagram handle is Marie, the entrepreneur's wife. I know
oh,
that's long. Yeah. But Marie, the entrepreneur's wife. So, if you follow me there, you'll get the latest there. You'll see what I'm doing. And then I try to add value in that way, sharing little tips here and there, words of encouragement until, it's a restoration year. So I'm rebuilding, I'm rebranding, I'm establishing some things for myself because I was definitely partnering with um, my husband in a lot of things. So I'm definitely working on that right now. Is the rebranding. So that's the best way to follow me. You can also go to my website at keishamarie.com. You'll see my book there as well.
yeah, definitely. In fact, I just gave you a follow on your Instagram right now while we are in this call, and I'm going to share your link right on screen.
All right, awesome. I'll be sure to follow back.
Okay, Maria, the entrepreneur wife. Thank you so much. I appreciate it very much. As
Absolutely. Thank you so much for
we
having me.
we are about to wrap up, what would you say as a kind of quick testimonial for being a guest on the show? What you say about your today's guest experience on the Growth Hacking Secrets show?
I would have to say that Muhammad is very transparent. He's caring. This is something where he truly wants to get to know you and add value to his audience. So I would definitely reach out to him, follow him as well on what he's doing. And then I just hope that everyone out there that's listening, no matter what's going on presently, in your life right now, whatever you're going through, just keep moving forward as it comes. I know there's hurdles to climb, mountains to climb. Roll with the punches, like me and Muhammad was talking about before we started the show, and just keep moving forward.
Thank you so much for your kind words. Really appreciate it. Keisha,
Absolutely.
what would you say as a final word?
Final word. Well, since we talked about systems, make sure you understand what it takes to go through the process. Understand that entrepreneurship, whatever you're attacking, whether it's entrepreneurship, buying a business, being, a top corporate employee, whatever it may be, being a mom, there's just so many things that so many hats that we wear. Just continue to educate yourself. That is very, very important. That's something that is number one in my household. All of our girls are top of their classes because my husband is a big reader. I myself, have a few degrees. And so even right now, we are consistently educating ourselves, getting understanding of what's going on around us so that we can continue to execute at our best and highest level.
Best and highest level. Thank you so much
Yes.
for sharing your wisdom with us today. On the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team, we really appreciate you. This is Mohammed
Thank
Siddique
you.
signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.